But this thing that you're talking about, that utility of reflection of yourself, I think this goes, we've had these interesting conversations around like monogamy versus polyamory. And we kind of touched on it a little bit. We were talking about marriage earlier, but I feel like that's one of that's something I realized in hindsight that I had with Caitlin that I did not understand or appreciate until years later. But it's that being really close with one person in this idea of reflecting yourself back. Because it's like I would do it for her and she'd do it for me and we would do it for each other in this way. But it's like, you can only get so close with your classmates in a creative writing workshop. But when you're with someone every day for, a solid year or more.
Right.
And you're with each other, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed most days. And you're seeing each other behind the scenes in your most vulnerable and embarrassing sort of moments. Well, then you can really get some keen reflection, because it's not just all the things that they're seeing you through, but it's the amalgamation of time, like just across weeks, months, years. And the longer you get, the more clear of a picture you have of one another to give feedback and reflection and get deeper into this thing. So, I wasn't really interested in self-development until a couple of years after that relationship. So like seeing a really close monogamous relationship is like a way to develop further for both people that are to share that value, that they want that for one another. They use each other's awareness and reflection and that communication to make both of themselves better together. I think that's something that you can get a version of that with polyamory.
Yeah. But
you might not be able to go quite as deep.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would think you could only go deep in the situation you're talking about, and if you got two people that are honest and open.
Yeah, that is very,
kind of
yes, very important that you do it with the right person. And also that you have some sort of, you can psychologically contend with one another. Because imagine if I'm really stupid and you're really smart. I'm not going to be that helpful in my reflections, and I might not be able to handle the reflections that you send back to me. I might not understand it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some factors that are involved. And yeah. Especially on in a romantic relationship like that, where part of us is, I'm sure, has all kinds of desires that hopefully we're able to share with this person, but that can be tricky if you're desiring somebody else, and this is supposedly the only person you're supposed to desire according to the parameters of the relationship. So, and I'm not like Mr. Polyamory guy, but I am curious about maximizing love and freedom and honesty, and how that's can all take place in a relationship.
Yeah.
Whether it's with one person or multiple people or whatever, to provide these accurate reflections to each other to enhance our existence.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's that kind of thing is about figuring out your own boundaries and what's optimal for you and what's optimal for the folks around you with that. Because, I mean, either one of us have a... Well, at least, I don't know. I'm not seeing anyone right now. But I'm saying, like, I don't even have to try to figure that out right now. What my boundaries are with... if I were to have a girlfriend tomorrow, how loving could I be to the other people around me?
Right.
Obviously I can be kind to people verbally.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
probably can get away with some handshakes and hugs,
Right.
but cuddling, kissing,
Mm.
having sex where I come
Mm-hmm. Coming all over somebody.
other people,
Yeah. Coming on somebody else's guns.
yeah, coming all over my AR-15 to lube it up.
Right.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I've got somewhat of a relationship going on.
Yeah.
With
That's why I pulled back and I was like, oh wait, no, I think he is seeing someone.
Well, yeah, she's in Hawaii and is thinking about coming here for a visit.
Oh.
But a man friend of hers is visiting her right now.
And how do you feel?
Well, there's a part of me that wants to be like, no.
Well, do you feel like you're suppressing that?
No, because I know in my heart that that's not gonna do her any good or me any good. Really, I'm putting up a fuss about her seeing somebody and I'm not even around. That's kind of silly. So, I'm supportive. I'm hoping they have whatever time they need to have for their lives.
Man, I respect that you can do that.
And that could be, they fall in love forever and they're together forever, or it could be, they don't like each other anymore and then go their separate ways. Whatever's best for them.
Yeah.
Because, if I'm putting up some fuss about it, and that could breed resentment to her from between her and I. And it's not encouraging her to explore whatever desires she's trying to explore. So I'll be holding back this person from being their full self.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think it's a mature way of thinking about it. And, I honestly, as far as that stuff goes for me, it's been so long since I've even had to engage with it. I have no idea what I would be like.
Yeah. All right.
I have no idea. Like, feels like a mature stance that you got there.
Well, I'm doing my best. Hoping to emulate what I would like to receive.
Yeah.
Because I would like to receive support, love, freedom for whatever I desire.
Yeah. Well, so here's where my thinking goes with, again, not necessarily that I disagree with you, but just to be devil's advocate on it. I almost feel like if I were in that situation, my fear would be like you said, you have the feeling of jealousy, but you're not engaging with it.
It's almost like I've been taught that that's how I should be reacting.
So I don't know how much it's been because you're taught or because that's natural.
Yeah.
And so my concern would be, on one hand, it feels very mature and passive and accepting to go, I hope they have whatever time they need to have. And if it's good and they fall in love, and that's great. That's their business. Mm-hmm. It wasn't meant to be. Right. Yeah. And I think in a lot of cases, that's the way to go, to go, if this girl reacts this way, or she goes off and cheats and does this, then it's obvious it wasn't meant to be, and I can just be stoic about it. I can just let it go. But the other part of me has this concern, like, well, maybe if I did act on those feelings of jealousy, not in like a rageful, emotionally erratic way where I'm crying and screaming and kicking and whatever about it, but being assertive and expressing that emotion and saying like, hey, I take the thing between us seriously. And I don't want to be with anyone but you. And you hanging out with this guy makes me feel like I'm going to lose that. And I feel like it compromises our bond. And I don't know if our values are aligned in this. And maybe if they're not, then maybe we should reassess, you know. But part of me feels like that might upset you. It might upset her. On the other hand, if it's with the right person, it might be that expression, the effort you're making in making that expression and voicing that truth that it does bother you. Well, that might be the thing to make her go, oh, okay, you are this serious. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't matter that much to me, because maybe before she felt like it's worth exploring other options because you don't seem that serious. You seem very passive and not emotionally invested. Seems like your interest is in floating around from one person to the next. So that's it, is that sometimes when I feel like I am maturing, so to speak, and becoming more passive and letting things go, sometimes I feel like I'm actually sending a false signal to women that I am truly very interested in. Yeah. And making them think I don't give that much of a shit. And then that's the reason they stop engaging with me. Where like I know I've gone too far on the other end. It's like, oh, he gives way too much of a shit. This is overwhelming, you know. But I think there's been times where after doing that and, you know, judging the situation in hindsight, going, yeah, I, you know, gave too much of a shit. I was a little too much in that situation. Going to the next thing and pulling back way too much. And then that person goes, yeah, it just seems like he's not there. He doesn't give a shit. And then I lose that one for the complete opposite overcorrection of the situation.
Yeah. Well, I think your expression is very real, very authentic, and if that felt right for my situation, I would definitely express it. Yeah. But of course, another layer is, you know, she's friends with this person, so they're at least friends.
Oh yeah,
to begin with.
Oh yeah, of course. I do not know all the nuances of this situation, and not even saying that you should do this.
But I'm supporting you in this scenario where, and supporting anybody really is it's really about the authentic expression, and to go along with that, the non-attachment to the outcome. Yeah. Simply expressing the desire is all we can really do, because we aren't anybody else. I don't own her. She's not mine. Right. Nor can we own anybody else, or really
I can watch me.
All right. But yeah, it's pretty allegorical to controlling anybody's behavior, really. If I don't like that my buddy drinks too much, it's like, it's his life. I don't know, what am I going to do?
Well, that's
other than express authentically, hey, I'm concerned about you.
Well, that's the perfect analogy, because think about this. Let's just say you and I, with two separate friends, are in similar situations. Let's just say you are the more stoic one between the two of us, and maybe I'm a little more of emotional and passionate one of us, right? So we both have separate friends in our lives at the same time that are bad alcoholics. And, you know, you tell your friend, hey, I don't really agree with your drinking. I don't think you should do it. They go, fuck you, man. And then they keep doing it. And then 6 months later, they die because alcohol poisoning, drunk driving, crash, or whatever. Yeah. And then let's say in my situation, I'm like, hey, man, you got to stop your fucking drinking. And they go, fuck you, man. And I go, no, fuck you. And I fucking like, we're getting you help. And I set up an intervention and force them. Like, I know that it's your life and your autonomy and you can do whatever you want, but no, I'm not letting you drink yourself to death. Yeah. It's not just, you know, I think the individual is a really important thing, but I also think that there's something to the social network. And I'm not talking about like social media. I'm talking about like the network that human beings are socially, and that it's important to have people around you that are passionate and invested in your well-being when maybe you might be in a place where you can't make that judgment. And I think in the case of men and women, you know, I know people have all sorts of like undoing these views they think are cultural constructs, but I think a lot of these things are more biologically rooted and ancient energetic things like the masculine energy and the feminine energy. And I think there's some element between men and women of like, as a man, you gotta, if you want it, you gotta step up and confidently, you know, not force your ownership onto someone that doesn't want it, but step up and show that you're serious and that you're passionate about the thing. And again, this could all boil down to a temperamental issue, like being the stoic, passive person. That's more aligned with who you truly are.
All right.
And you are that friend that's just accepting and non-judging, and that's what you do. You don't get involved. You let people, you know, drink themselves into oblivion if that's what they want to do. It's fine to kill yourself. Because I mean, I honestly am probably less like the way I outlined in that hypothetical. I probably am a little more like you. Where like, look, if I got this person that's doing, I mean, I can think of someone in my life right now that was a close friend to me a long time ago, and I know they're on a bad path, and I'm really not doing much about it.
Yeah.
And I am kind of boiling it down to, well, it's their life, you know? And also admitting, too, that it's probably a little more about my laziness, and I don't even know what I would do to intervene.
I like what you painted, though, that picture of this person that's like, no, I'm taking control of your life right now, which is, I feel like, is what's inside me to do, and maybe what's inside all of us to try to take control of all these situations, all these people, all these behaviors that we don't really have control over, but we can see, and by some grace, that it's probably going to be a bad situation for that person, or at least that's what we think, because we know best. And this, how powerful that would be. Just be like, yeah, I'm gonna fix this. Yeah. And
sometimes you gotta do it.
And maybe that will work, or that does work for some people. And I've definitely tried that in ways in the past that, and maybe I didn't do it right because it didn't work. And I don't know the right way other than to just state the desire and not have the attachment to it, unless, because you might not get your way. So I don't know what else to do really, other than being an honest person about what you want. And I guess it's similar to the manifesting in the universe situation, just stating what you want and seeing if it can come back to you. Yeah. Which would be nice. Yeah. But it doesn't happen. But also, do we really even know what we want? Or we at least think we know what we want, but it is a fun way to picture anything that happens as the universe giving us what we need. So, no matter what judgment we put on it, if it's good or bad, it's it could be a gratitude situation of thanks for this thing that is going to give me the whatever situation I may need, the lesson I may need, the shift in path that puts us to a whole other frame. Yeah.